geography of the forest, and this is pronounced as peninsula, so when I say it's surrounded by rivers, lakes, and beaches, and it's known to be the largest Andean forest, being 200,000 acres long. And it stretches from the Mazo Bay to the Eastern Cape. It's a very beautiful place. It's surrounded by multiple estuaries. The most known estuary is where the Ninsha River meets the Indian Ocean tides, which is Neva, her tides. And there are also mountain ranges in Ninsha that have moderate slopes ranging from 5 to 1,220 kilometers above sea level. Okay. Looking at the temperature, the seasons are very different from ours. You probably cannot see it. It's way down there is Ninsha, and it's very foresty. There's a lot of, it's very moist down there. It gets very, very hot and moist, and that's how you see the fog. So when you read about it and you see the fog in the area, that's because it's very moist down there, and it's very. So the summer starts in September until the end of April with the average temperature of 25 degrees Celsius, and usually it gets more rainy around that time. But the winter is from May to August with an average temperature of 18.2 degrees Celsius. And it rains a lot in Kinsha, but it isn't as bad as Cape Town and other coastal regions around it. The fog that's seen a lot in the forest is a cloud of precipitate in the air. It's very humid and damp in the forest. It can also get very, very cold in the area from the cold fronts that happen in the evening. And usually it rains mostly at night. So in the daytime it's more hot until the season. Okay. Here's my quote, and it kind of relates to my eloquent question. He grew to love the forest too in his own way. The forest had its own way of life. It was a place where you could be alone on Sundays and let your body rest and straighten up after a week on the scaffold. He came to the forest, its paths, its moods, its dangers. In the forest he learned that unhappiness was something you got used to, or something that passed. Using this quote, I have a question for you. How does the geography and climate of the forest influence who Benjamin becomes on the wild journey to finding who he is? So how the forest influences who he becomes.
Well, as Benjamin continually prison, it sort of forces him to take on the persona of Lucas Van Ruin rather than continue to be Benjamin Komoki.
Yeah.
To kind of go with that, like the prison mood, I feel like he was more free when he was Benjamin because he had all this area to run around, but in the forest he kind of felt more trapped and there wasn't many places he could go.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I felt like when he did go to the forest, he was kind of lost in identity, and he was lost in the forest because it was so different from where he came from. So that kind of goes what I had. Does anybody else have anything? No?
Well, I forgot my so my question is, how did the long clue affect the story? So it's like, it could be like anything in the storyline. Like, how does the long clue set a part in the story? Well, I personally think that if there was a long clue, I would think that there would be a point in the story because I see that in the story there's two areas, which was the forest and the long clue. And so basically the long clue was the beginning of his life there. It showed who he was. And then as he went across the mountains, which was his changing, in him. And then when he got to the forest, he started becoming somebody new, So I personally think that a long clue is important in the story because it sets where he stands at the beginning and who he was until he became someone stronger or even more dependent